The mirror stage is a concept developed by the French psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan. It describes a stage in the development of the infant when they first recognize their own reflection in a mirror, which occurs around 6 to 18 months of age. This recognition marks a crucial moment in the formation of the individual's identity. In Lacan's theory, the mirror stage is significant because it introduces the child to the concept of the I, or self. The infant's recognition of their reflection symbolizes the development of the ego, as they begin to identify with the image they see. However, this image is also an idealized version of themselves, which creates a sense of discord between their perceived self and their actual experience. This stage plays a pivotal role in the development of the individual's sense of self and their entry into the symbolic order of language and culture. Lacan first presented the idea of the mirror stage in a paper titled, "The Mirror Stage is Formative of the I Function as Revealed in Psychoanalytic Experience," at the 14th International Psychoanalytical Congress in 1936, and it was later elaborated in his writings, particularly in his Écrits. Here are some key points to understand about Lacan's mirror stage. Imaginary order. The mirror stage belongs to what Lacan calls the imaginary order, one of the three orders he theorized, the other two being the symbolic and the real. The imaginary is characterized by images, illusions, and the formation of the ego. Misrecognition. The child's recognition of their reflection is simultaneously a misrecognition because the image in the mirror is an idealized and coherent version of themselves that contrasts with their fragmented bodily experience. Formation of the ego. The mirror stage is crucial for the development of the ego. It marks the point where the child starts to form an identity based on the external image, leading to creation of the self as separate from others. Symbolic order and language. Following the mirror stage, the child enters the symbolic order, which involves the acquisition of language and the internalization of social rules and norms. This transition is crucial for the child's development within society. Desire and lack. The ideal image seen in the mirror creates a sense of lack in the child because they can never fully coincide with this image. This lack drives the individual's desire throughout their life. Lacan's mirror stage has had a profound influence on psychoanalytic theory, literary criticism, and cultural theory, offering insights into how individuals perceive themselves and their place in the world. The mirror stage, in simple words, is a concept by the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan. It describes a time in an infant's life, usually between 6 to 18 months old, when they first recognize themselves in a mirror. This moment is important because it helps the child start to form their sense of self or identity. Example. Imagine a baby looking into a mirror. At first, the baby might not realize that the reflection is their own. But after a while, they start to recognize that the face in the mirror is actually them. This recognition helps the baby understand that they are a separate individual. However, the image in the mirror looks perfect and whole, while the baby might feel clumsy and not quite put together. This difference between the perfect mirror image and their own feelings is the beginning of how they start to see themselves and others. Main arguments of Lacan's mirror stage, simplified. Formation of the self. Argument. The mirror stage is crucial for the formation of the child's sense of self, ego. Example. When a baby sees their reflection for the first time and realizes it's them, they start to understand that they are an individual separate from others. Idealized self-image. Argument. The image the child sees in the mirror is an idealized version of themselves, which they strive to become. Example. The baby sees a complete, coordinated reflection in the mirror, even though they might still be uncoordinated and clumsy. This perfect image becomes something they aspire to. Misrecognition. Argument. The child's recognition of their reflection is actually a misrecognition because the mirror image is not their true self. Example. The baby thinks the reflection is exactly who they are, but it's really just an image. Their real self is more complex and less perfect. Development of desire. Argument. The gap between the idealized image and the child's actual self creates a sense of lack, which drives their desires throughout life. Example. Because the baby can never fully be as perfect as the mirror image, they always feel like something is missing, which makes them want to improve and grow. Example to illustrate the arguments. Imagine a toddler named Sam who looks into a mirror for the first time. Sam sees a happy, smiling, well-coordinated baby in the mirror. Sam starts to understand that this reflection is them, marking the beginning of their sense of self. However, Sam often trips while walking and can't always express what they want. The mirror shows a perfect, coordinated baby, and Sam starts to want to be like that reflection. This idealized image creates a lifelong feeling that Sam needs to strive to become better, which influences their desires and actions as they grow up. Entry into the social world. Argument. The mirror stage marks the child's entry into the social world, and the beginning of their interaction with others as a distinct individual. Example. After recognizing themselves in the mirror, Sam starts to understand that they are a separate person from their parents and other people. This helps Sam start to learn social behaviors and interact with others more meaningfully. Foundation for language. Argument. The mirror stage lays the foundation for the child's later development of language and symbolic thinking. Example. As Sam begins to recognize themselves as an individual, they start to understand the concept of I and you, which are essential for learning to speak and communicate with words. Contrast with fragmented reality. Argument. The child's real experience of their body is fragmented and uncoordinated, contrasting with the coherent image seen in the mirror. Example. Even though Sam sees a smooth, coordinated baby in the mirror, in reality, Sam often feels clumsy and uncoordinated, like when they try to walk or hold a toy. This contrast helps Sam understand that their internal experience can be different from external appearances. Identity and alienation. Argument. The mirror stage introduces a sense of alienation as the child identifies with an external image that they can never fully match. Example. Sam begins to identify with the perfect image in the mirror, but since they can never be exactly like that image, they feel a bit disconnected or alienated from their true self. This feeling of always striving to be something more becomes a part of their identity. Beginning of the imaginary order. Argument. The mirror stage is part of Lacan's imaginary order, where the child starts to create mental images and fantasies about themselves and others. Example. Sam starts to imagine themselves as the happy, coordinated baby in the mirror, creating fantasies about what they could do and be. This imaginary order is all about images and how Sam sees themselves in relation to those images. Comprehensive example. Imagine Sam, a toddler who is around 1 year old. One day, Sam's parent holds them up to a mirror. At first, Sam is curious and reaches out, not quite understanding what they see. Then, Sam starts to realize that the baby in the mirror is actually their own reflection. This is a big moment for Sam because they start to understand that they are an individual separate from everyone else. Sam sees a happy, smiling, and coordinated baby in the mirror. This perfect image is something Sam wants to be. But when Sam tries to walk or grab a toy, they often stumble and feel clumsy. This difference between the perfect image in the mirror and their own clumsy reality creates a sense of wanting to be better, a feeling that stays with Sam as they grow up. As Sam gets older, they start to learn words and concepts like I and you, which help them talk and interact with others. They also begin to see themselves as part of a bigger social world, understanding that they are one person among many. This development is crucial for how Sam learns to communicate and build relationships. Even though Sam identifies with the perfect image in the mirror, they can never fully be that perfect. This creates a feeling of always wanting to be something more, a sense of striving that becomes a part of who they are. Sam's understanding of themselves and their place in the world starts with this simple act of seeing their reflection, which sets the stage for all their future interactions and self-perceptions. Establishment of the ego. Argument. The mirror stage is crucial for the establishment of the ego, which is the part of the mind that represents the self to itself. Example. When Sam sees their reflection and recognizes it as themselves, they start to form an idea of I, or me. This self-recognition helps Sam build their ego, or their sense of self. Interplay of reality and illusion. Argument. The mirror stage highlights the interplay between reality and illusion in the development of the self. Example. Sam's real-life experiences of being in coordinated and clumsy contrast with the smooth, perfect image in the mirror. This creates an ongoing tension between how Sam sees themselves, illusion, and how they actually are, reality. Influence on future relationships. Argument. The sense of self formed during the mirror stage influences how the child will relate to others in the future. Example. As Sam grows, their understanding of themselves as a distinct individual helps them form relationships. They learn to see others as separate individuals too, shaping how they interact socially and emotionally. Role of the other. Argument. The mirror stage involves the role of the other, which refers to the outside perspective that influences the child's self-concept. Example: when Sam's parent encourages them to look in the mirror and says, "That's you." It helps Sam understand their reflection. This external validation from the parent, the other, is crucial for Sam's self-recognition and development. Precursor to symbolic order. Argument: the mirror stage is a precursor to entering the symbolic order, where the child learns language and social rules. Example: after recognizing themselves in the mirror, Sam begins to learn words and concepts that help them communicate. This marks the start of their journey into understanding and using language, which is part of the symbolic order. Development of narcissism. Argument: the mirror stage can lead to the development of primary narcissism, where the child takes pleasure in their own image. Example: Sam enjoys looking at their reflection and feels a sense of pride and joy in seeing themselves. This self-admiration is a form of primary narcissism, which is natural at this stage of development. Comprehensive example. Let's take Sam, a toddler. One day, Sam's parent holds them up to a mirror. At first, Sam doesn't realize that the baby in the mirror is them. But then, they start to recognize the reflection and understand that it's their own image. This moment is crucial because it helps Sam begin to form their sense of self, or ego. Sam sees a perfect, happy, and coordinated baby in the mirror. However, in real life, Sam feels clumsy and uncoordinated. This difference between the idealized mirror image and their actual self creates a sense of striving for that ideal image, which stays with Sam as they grow up. This feeling of wanting to be better influences Sam's desires and goals. Sam's parent says, "That's you," reinforcing the idea that the reflection is Sam. This external validation from the parent helps Sam solidify their understanding of themselves as a separate individual. As Sam gets older, they start learning words like I and you, which help them communicate and understand their place in the world. They begin to see themselves as part of a social group and learn the rules and norms of society. Although Sam enjoys looking at their reflection and feels proud of what they see, they also realize that they can never fully be the perfect image in the mirror. This creates a sense of always wanting to improve and achieve more, which is a driving force in Sam's life. This entire process, starting with the simple act of recognizing their reflection, sets the stage for Sam's ongoing development of self-identity, language, social relationships, and the constant interplay between their ideal self and their real experiences. Significance and relevance of Lacan's mirror stage, simplified. Understanding self-identity formation. Significance. The mirror stage explains how an individual's sense of self-ego begins to form. It shows that self-recognition is a crucial developmental milestone. Relevance. Helps parents, educators, and psychologists understand the importance of early childhood experiences in shaping a person's self-concept and identity. Insight into human behavior and development. Significance. Provides insight into how early interactions and perceptions influence later behavior and psychological development. Relevance. Useful for psychologists and therapists in understanding the roots of certain behaviors, self-esteem issues, and identity crises. Framework for psychoanalytic theory. Significance. The mirror stage is foundational in Lacanian psychoanalytic theory, helping explain the formation of the unconscious mind. Relevance. Offers a theoretical framework for psychoanalysts and those studying human psychology, enhancing their ability to analyze and treat mental health issues. Impact on language and communication. Significance. Highlights the link between self-recognition and the acquisition of language and symbolic thinking. Relevance. Important for linguists and educators, emphasizing the role of early identity formation in language development and communication skills. Understanding the role of the other. Significance. Emphasizes the importance of external validation, the role of the other, in the formation of self-identity. Relevance. Helps in understanding social dynamics and the influence of societal norms and relationships on individual identity. Explaining narcissism and alienation. Significance. Provides a basis for understanding primary narcissism and feelings of alienation that can arise from the gap between the ideal self and actual self. Relevance. Useful in clinical settings for addressing issues related to self-esteem, narcissistic behavior, and feelings of alienation. Foundation for post-structuralist and postmodern theories. Significance. The mirror stage has influenced various fields, including post-structuralism and postmodernism, by highlighting the fragmented and constructed nature of identity. Relevance offers critical tools for literary critics, cultural theorists, and philosophers in analyzing texts and cultural phenomena. Example of relevance in real life. Therapeutic setting. A psychologist working with a client who struggles with self-esteem issues might use the concept of the mirror stage to understand the client's early experiences. By exploring how the client first perceived themselves and how their self-image was shaped by interactions with parents and peers, the psychologist can address the root causes of their low self-esteem and help them build a healthier self-concept. Educational setting. Educators can use the principles of the mirror stage to foster positive self-recognition and self-esteem in young children. By providing supportive and affirming interactions, they can help children develop a strong, positive sense of self, which is crucial for their academic and social development. Cultural analysis. A literary critic might use Lacan's mirror stage to analyze a character in a novel who experiences a crisis of identity. By applying this theory, the critic can explain how the character's early experiences of self-recognition, the gap between their idealized self and actual self, influence their actions and psychological state throughout the story. Summary. Lacan's mirror stage is significant because it provides a deep understanding of how self-identity forms and evolves, influencing various aspects of human behavior, development, and social interaction. Its relevance spans across psychology, education, literature, and cultural studies, offering valuable insights into the complexities of human identity and the factors that shape it. Strengths and weaknesses of Lacan's mirror stage. Strengths. Foundational insight into identity formation. Strength. The mirror stage provides a foundational understanding of how individuals form their sense of self. It highlights the importance of early childhood experiences in developing self-recognition and identity. Example. It explains why early interactions with caregivers and the environment are crucial in shaping a child's psychological development. Integration of psychoanalytic and structuralist thought. Strength. Lacan's concept integrates psychoanalytic ideas with structuralist theory, offering a unique perspective on human psychology that emphasizes the interplay between the individual and societal structures. Example. It helps bridge the gap between Freud's theories of the unconscious and the structuralist focus on language and symbols. Application across disciplines. Strength. The mirror stage has applications in multiple fields, including psychology, literary criticism, cultural studies, and philosophy, making it a versatile and influential concept. Example. Literary critics use it to analyze characters' identities in novels, while psychologists apply it to understand clients' developmental issues. Explains narcissism and alienation. Strength. The concept provides a framework for understanding narcissism and feelings of alienation, which are common psychological phenomena. Example. It helps explain why individuals might develop an inflated self-image or experience a sense of disconnection from their true selves. Influence on post-structuralist and postmodern thought. Strength. Lacan's theory has significantly influenced post-structuralist and postmodern thinkers, contributing to contemporary debates about identity, subjectivity, and the nature of reality. Example. Philosophers and cultural theorists use the mirror stage to explore the constructed and fragmented nature of identity in modern society. Weaknesses. Abstract and complex nature. Weakness. The mirror stage is highly abstract and can be difficult to understand, making it challenging to apply in practical settings without extensive theoretical background. Example. Therapists or educators might struggle to directly apply Lacan's ideas in everyday practice due to their complexity and abstract nature. Lack of empirical evidence. Weakness. The concept is largely theoretical and lacks empirical evidence to support its claims, making it less scientifically robust compared to other developmental theories. Example. Unlike Piaget's stages of development, which are backed by observational studies, Lacan's mirror stage relies heavily on philosophical and psychoanalytic arguments. Overemphasis on visual recognition. Weakness. The theory places a strong emphasis on visual recognition, potentially overlooking other sensory and relational aspects of identity formation. Example. It may not fully account for how auditory, tactile, and social interactions contribute to the development of the self. Cultural and contextual limitations. Weakness. The mirror stage is based on Western psychoanalytic traditions and may not fully apply to different cultural contexts with varying developmental norms and practices. Example: cultures that place less emphasis on individualism and more on collective identity might not align with Lacan's emphasis on individual self-recognition. Potential for misinterpretation. Weakness. Due to its complexity, the concept is prone to misinterpretation or oversimplification, which can lead to misunderstandings about its application and implications. Example: simplified interpretations might ignore the nuanced interplay between the imaginary, symbolic, and real orders in Lacan's theory. Summary. The strengths of Lacan's mirror stage lie in its profound insights into identity formation, its integration of psychoanalytic and structuralist thought, and its wide-ranging applications across disciplines. However, its abstract nature, lack of empirical evidence, overemphasis on visual recognition, cultural limitations, and potential for misinterpretation present significant challenges. Understanding these strengths and weaknesses is crucial for effectively applying and critically engaging with Lacan's influential concept. Usefulness of Lacan's mirror stage. In psychology and psychoanalysis. Understanding early development. Usefulness. The mirror stage provides a framework for understanding how a child's sense of self and identity begins to form during early development. Example: psychologists and therapists can use this concept to explore the origins of a client's self-image and identity issues, helping them address root causes of low self-esteem or narcissism. Analyzing narcissistic behavior. Usefulness. It offers insights into development of narcissism and the constant pursuit of an ideal self, which can be critical in therapeutic settings. Example: therapists working with clients who display narcissistic tendencies can use the mirror stage to understand how these behaviors might stem from early experiences of self-recognition and the desire to match an idealized image. In literary criticism and cultural studies. Textual analysis. Usefulness. Lacan's concept is valuable for analyzing characters' identities and psychological development in literature. Example: literary critics can use the mirror stage to interpret a character's journey of self-discovery and the conflicts arising from their pursuit of an ideal self, as seen in novels like Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, or James Joyce's A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. Cultural and media analysis. Usefulness. It helps in understanding how media and cultural narratives shape individual and collective identities. Example: cultural theorists can analyze how advertisements, films, and social media create idealized images that people strive to emulate, leading to feelings of inadequacy and alienation. In education. Early childhood education. Usefulness. The concept highlights the importance of early interactions and self-recognition in a child's development, informing educational practices. Example: educators can create environments that support positive self-recognition and validation, helping children develop a healthy sense of self and confidence. In philosophy and critical theory. Exploring subjectivity and identity. Usefulness. Lacan's mirror stage is a crucial component in discussions about subjectivity, identity, and the construction of the self. Example: philosophers and critical theorists can use the mirror stage to explore how identities are formed and fragmented in contemporary society, contributing to debates in post-structuralism and postmodernism. In art and film studies. Analyzing visual representation. Usefulness. The emphasis on visual recognition in the mirror stage makes it a valuable tool for analyzing visual art and film. Example: art and film critics can use Lacan's concept to examine how characters in films experience moments of self-recognition and how these moments drive the narrative, such as in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, or Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan. Practical applications. Therapeutic practices. Usefulness. Therapists can apply Lacan's ideas to help clients understand and resolve identity issues by exploring early childhood experiences and their impact on the current self-concept. Example: a therapist might use the mirror stage to help a client understand how their pursuit of perfection is rooted in early self-recognition experiences, allowing them to work on developing a more realistic and compassionate self-view. Personal development. Usefulness. Individuals can use the insights from the mirror stage to understand their own identity struggles and work towards a healthier self. Image. Example: by recognizing that their sense of inadequacy may stem from trying to live up to an idealized self-image formed in childhood, individuals can focus on self-acceptance and realistic self-improvement goals. Summary. Lacan's mirror stage is a versatile and influential concept with wide-ranging usefulness across psychology, literary criticism, cultural studies, education, philosophy, art, and film studies. It provides deep insights into the formation of self-identity, the pursuit of idealized images, and the impact of early experiences on later behavior and self-perception. Understanding and applying this concept can enhance therapeutic practices, educational methods, cultural analyses, and personal development efforts, offering valuable tools for exploring and addressing the complexities of human identity and psychological development. Applicability of Lacan's mirror stage for literary analysis. Lacan's mirror stage can be a powerful tool for literary analysis, offering insights into characters' psychological development, themes of identity, and the interplay between self-perception and external reality. Here's how it can be applied. Character development and identity formation. Application. Analyze how characters develop their sense of self and identity throughout the narrative. Example. In James Joyce's A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, the protagonist, Stephen Dedalus, undergoes a journey of self-discovery and identity formation. The mirror stage can be used to explore how Stephen's early experiences and reflections shape his evolving sense of self. Conflict between ideal and real self. Application. Examine the tension between a character's idealized self-image and their actual experiences. Example. In Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, Clarissa Dalloway's reflections on her past and present reveal a conflict between her ideal self and her current reality. The mirror stage helps analyze this tension and its impact on her psyche. Themes of alienation and fragmentation. Application. Explore themes of alienation and fragmentation of the self within the narrative. Example. In Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis, Gregor Samsa's transformation into an insect can be seen as a physical manifestation of his fragmented and alienated self. The mirror stage provides a framework to understand Gregor's sense of disconnection from his former human identity. Symbolism and imagery. Application. Analyze the use of mirrors, reflections, and other symbolic imagery related to self-recognition and identity. Example. In Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, the portrait serves as a mirror reflecting Dorian's true self, while his physical appearance remains unchanged. The mirror stage can be used to interpret how the portrait symbolizes the split between Dorian's idealized self and his hidden, corrupt identity. Narrative structure and point of view. Application. Investigate how narrative structure and point of view reflect characters' self-perception and identity struggles. Example. In William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury, the fragmented narrative structure and multiple perspectives reflect the character's fractured sense of self and identity. The mirror stage helps analyze how these narrative techniques mirror the psychological states of the characters. Influence of the other. Application. Examine the role of other characters in shaping the protagonist's identity. Example. In Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, the influence of characters like Mr. Rochester and St. John Rivers on Jane's self-concept and identity can be analyzed through the lens of the mirror stage, highlighting the impact of external validation and relationships on her sense of self. Psychological realism. Application. Enhance the understanding of psychological realism in literature by delving into characters' inner conflicts and self-perceptions. Example. In Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov's internal struggle and his conflicting self-perceptions can be analyzed using the mirror stage to understand the depth of his psychological turmoil. Detailed example. Novel, The Great Gatsby, by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Character analysis, J. Gatsby. Mirror stage application. Gatsby's construction of an idealized self-image as a wealthy, successful man is rooted in his early experiences and desires. The mirror stage can be used to analyze how Gatsby's pursuit of this ideal self-image leads to his ultimate downfall. His fixation on the past and the idealized version of himself in Daisy Buchanan reflects the tension between his real self and his ideal self. Themes of alienation and idealization. Mirror stage application. The novel's exploration of the American dream and the characters' idealized visions of themselves and their lives can be analyzed through the mirror stage. Gatsby's alienation from his true self and the reality of his origins exemplifies the disconnection that Lacan describes. Symbolism. Mirror stage application. The green light at the end of Daisy's dock serves as a symbol of Gatsby's idealized goals and desires. The mirror stage helps interpret this symbol as an unattainable ideal that Gatsby continuously strives for but can never fully reach, reflecting his constant struggle with self-identity. Conclusion. Applying Lacan's mirror stage to literary analysis provides a rich framework for exploring characters' psychological development, identity formation, and the tension between their idealized and real selves. By examining characters' reflections, symbolic imagery, and narrative structures through this lens, readers and critics can gain deeper insights into the complexities of human identity and the underlying psychological themes in literature. This approach enhances the understanding of character motivations, thematic depth, and the overall narrative, offering a more profound appreciation of literary works. Features, requirements, and role of Lacan's mirror stage in literary analysis. Features of Lacan's mirror stage. Self-recognition. Feature. The mirror stage describes the moment when a child first recognizes their reflection in a mirror as themselves, leading to the formation of the ego. Role in literary analysis. This concept helps analyze moments in literature where characters experience self-awareness or identity formation. Ideal ego. Feature. The child identifies with an idealized image of themselves, which is more complete and powerful than their actual experience. Role in literary analysis. It helps explore the gap between a character's self-perception and their idealized self, often leading to internal conflict. Alienation and fragmentation. Feature. The recognition of the self as both subject and object introduces a sense of alienation and fragmentation. Role in literary analysis. This concept can be used to examine characters who experience a split or disconnection within themselves, leading to themes of alienation and existential crisis. Role of the other. Feature. The child's recognition of their reflection is mediated by the gaze of another person, indicating that identity is formed in a social context. Role in literary analysis. This aspect helps analyze how characters' identities are influenced by their relationships and societal expectations. Symbolic and imaginary orders. Feature. The mirror stage transitions the child from the imaginary order, identification with the image, to the symbolic order, language and social structures. Role in literary analysis. It assists in understanding how characters navigate between their personal desires and societal norms. Requirements for applying Lacan's mirror stage. Understanding of Lacanian theory. Requirement. A solid grasp of Lacan's psychoanalytic concepts, particularly the mirror stage, is essential. Role in literary analysis. Enables the critic to apply these concepts accurately and effectively in textual analysis. Knowledge of character development. Requirement. Familiarity with character development and psychological theories. Role in literary analysis. Helps in identifying and analyzing characters' psychological growth and identity formation. Contextual analysis. Requirement. An ability to place characters and themes within their broader social, historical, and cultural contexts. Role in literary analysis. Provides depth to the analysis by considering how external factors influence characters' identities. Critical thinking skills. Requirement. Strong analytical and critical thinking skills to interpret and connect Lacanian concepts with literary elements. Role in literary analysis. Facilitates nuanced interpretations and insights into the text. Role of Lacan's mirror stage in literary analysis. Character psychology. Role. Helps dissect characters' psychological states, particularly moments of self-realization and identity crises. Example. Analyzing Holden Caulfield's struggles in J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, through the lens of the mirror stage can reveal his fragmented sense of self and his quest for a coherent identity. Theme exploration. Role. Provides a framework for exploring themes of identity, alienation, and self-perception. Example. In Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar, Esther Greenwood's struggle with her identity and sense of self can be analyzed using Lacan's concepts, highlighting her alienation and fragmentation. Symbolism and imagery. Role. Enhances the interpretation of symbolic elements related to self-recognition and identity. Example. The use of mirrors and reflections in Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass can be examined to understand Alice's journey of self-discovery and the blurring of reality and imagination. Narrative structure. Role. Helps in analyzing how narrative techniques reflect characters' psychological states and identity formation. Example. The fragmented narrative in Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, can be interpreted through the mirror stage to understand the characters' fragmented identities and their search for coherence. Interpersonal dynamics. Role sheds light on how relationships and societal expectations shape characters' identities. Example: in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth Bennet's interactions with Mr. Darcy and society can be analyzed to reveal how her self-perception evolves and solidifies in response to social dynamics. Summary: Lacan's mirror stage provides a rich theoretical framework for literary analysis, offering tools to explore character development, themes of identity and alienation, symbolism, and narrative structure. By understanding the features of the mirror stage and meeting the requirements for its application, literary critics can delve deeper into the psychological and social dimensions of literary texts, yielding nuanced and insightful interpretations.